Also, you might need to register, or you can just read it and you can respond live, you know.
Okay, you're live.
Yep. Welcome, welcome. So we are finally live here on Naked in the Woods. Have a great show tonight. We have Matt Wellman here. We're going to talk about e-pipe mods, how great they are, and how awesome they are. I love mine. And I'm sure all of you who have them also do. Welcome, Matt. Welcome, Matt.
Hold on. I'm terribly sorry. Wow. Okay. Had to stop that.
Yep, no problem.
Hold on just a second.
It may, if it's
Okay.
if it was restarted, you may grab. Hey, Cajun.
I got double audio going on.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody.
No.
If you just mute the novabroadcasting.org.
Give me a minute. Oh, what did I do? What did I do?
Hey, Steve-O, Vapory, Asti, Cajun Guitarist, Witchy One, Ripple, Annie, Vapor Joes, Ira, welcome. Plank is Cool Dragon, Lorex, Iowa Gal, Cracks, Car Machine, Craig Carf. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show tonight. How you guys doing? Everybody's in. We got past our tech issues, and we're ready to go. Nice to see you all here. Duke of Ducks, welcome. How you guys doing? I have Matt Wellman with me, as you can see on the screen. We do have video now and sound. Say hello, Matt.
Hello, hello.
Awesome. So how you doing? So we're going to talk a little bit about e-pipes, ohms, batteries, and different things tonight.
Yep.
If you guys have any questions, you can put them into the chat, and Matt can read them, or I can read them if there's anything you want to know in particular. So let's talk a little bit about what's been going on. A lot of people are using mods with super low ohm coils. Safe or unsafe?
My professional opinion is definitely unsafe, and even the guys that are using them will tell you, yeah, it's dangerous unless you know exactly what you're doing. So, you know.
It's not for noobs. It's not something noobs should be trying to do if they don't have knowledge of Ohm's law, battery tolerances, have a meter to actually check your bats also, and coils would be a good idea, I think, right?
Yeah, you have to have a pretty good understanding of the electronics behind what you're doing as well as the mechanics behind what you're doing.
Right, and so your pipes all have a vape safe in them. Matt is also the originator, designer. He and Chris of the Vape Safe, they made the Vape Safe, put it together about a year, I'm saying a year and a half.
Yeah, it's about a year and a half ago. Yeah, me and Chris got together. Chris from Cherry Vape, by the way, got together in February for the Atlanta meet. He flew down here, and we were fooling around with my CNC machine, and I found out that it had a 7-amp fuse, a little inline 7-amp fuse in it, and we figured out a way to put that on a little PCB and stick a magnet to it and make it capable to have protection. And you know, all these mechanical mods that don't have protection and they have just raw batteries, and then that you know, they have a current limit on them. They have a recommended rating on them, and if you short them out or you have too much current going through that battery, you risk thermal escalation and possibly venting and exploding. So
that would definitely be a very bad thing. I think people definitely don't read enough, and they tend to look to YouTube for their information. And if they see a reviewer saying, hey, you should make quad coils at 0.1 ohms, It's a great idea. Look at all the plumes of vapor it's making, and people follow that. It seems people follow it without really knowing what can happen, what they're doing. They're just imitating what they're seeing. Um, I don't see on any of the videos, very, very few people saying, look, this is not safe for everybody, and you should definitely not play around with this if you're not aware of what can happen.
Well, I mean, really, bottom line, when you're dealing with sub-ohm like that, you get down to a certain level, and you have an escalating curve of your amps and ohms. As you drop your ohms, your amps increase exponentially, and you get down so far, and it essentially creates a hard short. And most of your batteries out there, and I dare say all, I know that a lot of sub-ohm users out there would argue, MNKE is good and AW is good, but
Right.
in all honesty, if you look at the ratings for those batteries, they are not rated to handle, over 10 amps. They're just not. They're not meant to be pushed that far, and it's not safe. And you're taxing that battery even getting close to that. I mean, everybody knows, well, not everybody, but most people understand that battery ratings are usually generously overestimated. You have 18350s that are rated at 1200 mAh, and then you have an AW, which has an honest rating on it, which says it's 650 milliamp hours.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't pack 1200 milliamp hours into an 18350. You just can't. So a lot of these numbers are fudged, and you really are pushing the limits when you're going that low. And yeah, it might work, sure. You can drive your car around without seatbelts on all day and get away with it, but it doesn't make it safe.
Right, right. Yeah, I think people definitely are not informed enough. And also, don't they overestimate what the battery, what its ratings may be, the companies in general? Because what I'm seeing is what they're rated for is always higher than the actual rating.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and
That's
so
pretty
people,
much across the board. Yeah, there are
right,
very few. Like AW has pretty true ratings, but if you look at AW's ratings, um, they're not rated for the type of amperage that sub-ohm users are typically pushing out. Um, and it's, you can push it. You definitely can push it, and people can get away with it. But yeah, they're not meant to do that.
right. So, and do you think people are aware that the batteries are rated for the flash current, versus sustained current? I mean, I see a lot of posts um, talking about, the equation for, say if you're using a device that has power with modulation versus a mechanical battery, and it can be different for both, or no? Is that basically?
There's Well, first of all, there are several different types of lithium-ion batteries out there, and depending on the chemical composition of the battery, it responds differently with the type of power that you're supposed to take away from it. Some of them are designed specifically to throw large bursts of energy intermittently, like one large burst, like a hydrating battery, a large burst of energy for a short period of time. Other batteries are designed to basically trickle that energy out. And unless you know what type of battery you're using, and bottom line is none of the tube batteries that we use are rated high enough. They don't have a high enough C rating in order to go that low into the sub-ohm and produce that many amps. Now, if you were to make a mod, say with a lithium polymer pack battery, some of those batteries have high enough C ratings that they could handle something like that, but nobody's using batteries
Okay.
like that for what they're doing.
And can you explain what the C plus or C rating is for those who may not know?
Yeah, one second. Let me
Sure.
grab my e-liquid and close this door. I'll be right
Absolutely.
back. apologize.
No problem. No problem.
So,
go ahead.
So yeah, C rating is a difficult spec to find on batteries. Oftentimes you have to contact the manufacturing directly to get C rating. But what the C rating is usually it's a number of like 0.5, 1, possibly 2. It's typically in that range. And if you have, let's say you have a 1,000 milliamp battery, and you have a C rating of 1.
Okay.
That means that battery is capable of pushing 1 amp at one time. So when you depress that button, it's limited to outputting 1 amp, and you're not to exceed 1 amp in how much power you're putting out. So certain lithium polymer packs, like we're experimenting with the US box, we have a 2400 milliamp battery that has a C rating of 15, and some of these lithium polymer packs can even get up to a C rating of like 60. Now, if you're using a battery like that, sure, you can do sub-ohm, you're good. But if you are doing sub-ohm, I would still say, put something on there, that you can get a fuse, an inline fuse that can, if you want to, if you really just need to vape at 15 amps, put a 15 amp fuse on the thing.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. We need to be safe. It sounds to me like people are playing at being engineers, and when you really need to have a high degree of technical knowledge to actually know or understand. I mean, this is not something I have ever recommended to new vapors. And for me, even, somebody who's been vaping a year may not understand really how dangerous it could be, and listen, I have vaped sub-ohm coils, I like the way it tastes, but I'm not comfortable using something like that all day long. An 18350, like 10 minutes is about my top, okay? And then it comes out, So, I'm sufficiently worried enough about it. I don't do it often, and I change the batteries really frequently, because I've had batteries vent, and I'm not looking to have that happen again,
Yeah.
It is painful, to say the least, and very dangerous,
Yeah.
I just can't imagine somebody pushing those limits, and you got a house full of kids, say, God forbid something should happen. And I don't think our devices are really made for that kind of thing. That is one gorgeous, gorgeous pipe. Yeah, everybody's saying, "Give me the pipe, give me the pipe." It's beautiful. It is so beautiful.
This is Loki. He'll be up on Friday. He'll be up on the site.
Oh, nice. It's absolutely fabulous. I do have one of your pipes. Matt was very kind enough to give the volunteers at Vape Fest each one of his pipes, and I have to say it's my everyday vape, and it would be right now if I didn't send it to you. So I dropped it so many times I actually loosened it up. But I really love it. You do
the connectors can come loose, but we have a really good repair policy, so
you have a great one.
We'll take care of you if anything bad happens.
Yeah, the pipes are really beautiful. I do want to talk about the pipes also, but I do want to stay on using sub-ohm coils for a little more. I've seen posts where somebody is actually advocating buying your pipes to make them less safe. That's something. Why do you put the vape safe in? Now, I'm pretty sure you put them in to have the safest possible device. And do you advocate removing a vape safe from one of your devices?
Absolutely not. I designed our pipes a specific way. I know the mechanics behind our pipes, and that's another area where, not only do you need to know the electrical side of what you're doing with a sub-ohm coil, you need to know the mechanical side of the device you're using that sub-ohm coil on in order to have a really firm idea of whether or not it's meant to do that. It's like, you wouldn't put a 5 amp rated switch on a sub-ohm coil. That's dumb. You're asking for problems.
Right.
And essentially, I mean, that's what we're dealing with my pipes. My pipes are not designed to go to deliver that much current, and furthermore, the mechanical nature of the pipe is, if anything bad were to happen in a short circuit situation without the vape safe in place, the switch collapses and the mod is actually left in the on position.
Oh.
That's why there's a vape safe there, is because most of your mechanical mods, not all of them, but most of them, if a short circuit has occurred, the mod is in an innate position of an open switch. So unless the user actually depresses that switch, there's no firing of the atomizer or continued short circuit. With our pipes, if a short circuit occurs, the switch collapses and it stays on. And that's the last thing you want in a short circuit situation, because then you have thermal runaway. So yeah, removing the vape safe is just a terrible idea with our particular device. I don't recommend it at all. And I really feel like I saw a couple questions in the chat here, what the amp current ratings and stuff like that were. We have a 3.5 hold current on the vape safe. 3.5 amp hold current and a 7 amp trip current. There really is no need to go higher than 3.5 amps, in my opinion. I think you can get plenty of vapor with a good, well-wrapped coil. On my particular device, that's what I've spec'd it to use. That's what I recommend you use it at, and using it outside those parameters, you really are using it at your own risk. And yeah, you could burn your house down. You really could.
Oh, I can testify to that. I had a device, and it was one of the early ones. 18350s had just started being used. The button was getting stuck on a lot of them, but I was unaware of that, and the batteries were so hot. When I went to pick up the device, it had melted my tank. Hot juice, and I mean boiling hot.
Yeah.
Burned my hands, melted my carpet. I grabbed my sheet off the bed, the device, ran it outside, unscrewing it while I'm running, falling down the stairs, threw them into the snow. I mean, I was sufficiently burned and freaked out by it, because had I not picked it up to vape, that thing would have went, and it was right at my head on my nightstand.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
No.
So, that cured me of leaving batteries in my devices, not metering them, and really being as safe as possible.
Yeah. Someone had asked in the chat what ohm rating the vape safe is at. Well, I'm guessing what you're asking is how low can you go with a vape safe, ohms wise, and we basically put the limit at 1.5. Anything below 1.5 ohm with a vape safe, you're kind of on your own. Now, I know some people that have taken it all the way down to 1 ohm and they're okay, but the PCB that's in there, it's not a once and done fuse like the vape safe 1. The vape safe 2 is a PCB that is like this poly mesh thing. I don't know. I'm not an electronic engineer. I have a guy that builds them for me, and he spec'd them out. He knows what he's doing. But essentially, you run too much current through the thing, and it weakens it over time, and you actually end up with a drop in load because the circuit has been weakened, and the more you use it at a lower ohm setting, the weaker and weaker it gets until it cannot carry a load. So the VapeSafe 2 can actually be permanently damaged to where it will no longer provide a load to the atomizer.
Ah. So do you have plans for making ones? I know you used to have one that buzzed. Now I have actually some beta versions that you gave me quite a while ago. These were first versions of the VapeSafe. One of them made a noise, and we talked a little bit about that last night. Any plans to make one so that people know absolutely? Because unless it's not firing and you check it and stuff, is there a way to know? I mean, the device won't fire once the VapeSafe's set off, correct?
Yeah, and that is, I mean, honestly, that is a bit of an annoyance for the product. You know, if your mod's not firing for whatever reason, it is difficult to identify whether or not the VapeSafe's been tripped, especially with the polyfuse. Now, with the VapeSafe 1, that is a mechanical fuse. Once it's blown, you can easily tell if it's been blown. You just stick it on a battery, stick it on your charger. If the light goes into charging mode, then the VapeSafe's not blown. If it does go into charging mode, then the VapeSafe, or if it does not, I don't remember. Anyway, with the new one, you still do get a trickle of current through it. So it is more difficult to tell. So I'm going to be talking to John from Artisan about revisiting the, I forget what we called it. I think we called it the buzzer or something. I can't remember.
I actually have it. I do have it up here.
Yeah, I've got a couple here myself. I've got the beta fuse and beta buzzer. Beta buzzer.
Hey. Yep. Beta buzzer and beta fuse. Zen, welcome.
And good evening. What's happening?
Hi, we're just having a little chat about why the VapeSafe was invented and how it benefits you to put one into your mechanical devices. Actually, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Are we on a show or something?
We are on the show.
Wow.
Some Naked in the Woods show, but I don't see anybody naked. You want to be the first? I'll go after you.
All right. Okay, here we go. Matt, it's your turn. Let's go. Eating some mixed nuts and getting nuts.
Oh, sounds like a plan.
Is there a somebody throw me a link to where the show is so I could do something silly like
Alrighty, I certainly will. Chunk, can you here, let me send it to your Skype actually.
how's the show going? How long has it been on?
We've been on since 10,
Oh,
about
it's a
half
short
an
one
hour.
already.
Yep, just pretty much got started. They're saying CB sandwich.
Wouldn't be the first time. Wouldn't be the first time.
See how he disses me? See how he disses me?
That wasn't a diss, actually.
I thought it sounded like a good idea,
Yeah.
actually, but, you know, I don't want to fess up too much, you know what I mean? I don't want people to know what a perv I am. So, we're talking about, you know, using super low ohm coils. Like to add safe, unsafe, in your opinion?
Well, let's see. Hang on a second while this thing does something silly to me.
Alrighty. I'm sure it will. You probably will need to mute the sound in there also.
Yeah, I have to mute the sound in it, and we'll.
I did that too. Double audio.
I'll fix it. I know I have an echo. I'll fix it. Give me a second here. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna skip the or not. I don't know. There we go. That's it. I can have that window open there.
There you go.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, no, the heck with it. Let me. Okay, where was I? Hi. I can't read the chat window, so.
Okay. Well, Hot Mama PV is running up to give you a big hug. I know you sent her some beautiful devices for the Wounded Warrior Project.
Yeah.
And they did really well to raise money for wounded veterans.
Cool.
Booby
The raising money is cool. The wounded veterans is not.
Right.
But,
Right.
but, yeah, it's a really great cause.
That's a great charity that does great work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was a question. What was the question? It was, do I think?
We're talking about sub-ohm coils. Do you think there's an actual need to use them? We know it can be catastrophic if used in the wrong hands, and I think a lot of people are using them and really don't know, the dangers of them because they see a reviewer who says, "I've got quad coils, and it's super. Look at the plumes I'm blowing out." Not understanding anything about the batteries being the most unpredictable part, in my opinion, of vaping.
Isn't that nice? Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Exactly.
I could get behind the wheel of a car and go 175 miles an hour on a road that people typically go 35 miles an hour on, and I could do it hundreds of times without incident. That doesn't mean that it's safe.
Yeah.
It just means that I got away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing goes wrong, and it's a bad thing, and you die, or somebody else dies, or something catastrophic happens, and that's not good.
Yeah, God forbid.
See that thing right there?
Yep.
That's a bomb.
Yep.
Okay. That is a bomb. Okay. And just because you haven't had one vent on you, and it doesn't mean that it's never going to vent. And just because you've done silly things to it and it hasn't blown up, doesn't mean that it's not going to. There's two kinds of batteries. Okay. And a lot of people say, well, you got IMR and you got lithium ion. No, there's two kinds of batteries. Those that have exploded and those that can explode. Okay. Those are the only two kinds of batteries that I know of. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody asked in the chat, is there a video of somebody having an accident? Just YouTube lithium-ion batteries exploding. Just enter that in YouTube and just have a heyday. Watch laptops explode. Watch cell phones explode. Watch cameras explode.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It's overrun with videos of exploding batteries, devices, people doing it intentionally, not doing it intentionally, and honestly, I think it's just really irresponsible for reviewers to say, you can do this too. You should try using a 0.1 ohm coil to somebody who's been vaping a month or a week.
Or a year or 4 years or 10 years. Okay.
That was the rest.
and the thing is, in the world of electronics, okay, low resistance means anything under 1,000 ohms. Okay. In the world of electronic cigarettes, low resistance means anything below 2 ohms,
yeah.
And high resistance is 2 to 4 ohms. That's not high resistance. That's low resistance. 2/10 of an ohm, 3/10 of an ohm, 5/10 of an ohm. It's a dead short.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's all it is. The only difference between, and it causes heat in the coil, and it causes the electrolyte in the battery to react in a very violent way. And when it decides it's going to vent, it's really, really unpleasant. I have had a battery vent, not in a PV, but I have had one vent. And once it ignites, it's not going out. Okay? It goes until the chemical reaction is done.
It's like lighting a bottle rocket without a stick on it.
Right. And it's going to go until it's done. And if it's in your hand, it's going to burn you. If it's pointing at your face, it could burn your face. If it's in a tube that doesn't let enough pressure out, or has the slightest flaw in it, it will explode. And the thing is,
all over you.
And the thing is, it's not just caused by stacking batteries. Okay.
No.
It's not just and just because an IMR battery is safer chemistry, what it means is it won't be as explosive. But when it ignites, it's gonna burn until it's done, and you can't put it out.
Yeah.
It's
a massive release of energy and pressure, and if that pressure is confined, and what kills me is that the sub-ohm users, they're forced to use mechanical mods in order to get the performance that they're looking for, and oftentimes the mechanical mods do not have even proper venting in order to prevent that mod from blowing up and making shrapnel go everywhere. If it were to go thermal.
Yeah, that is really horrible.
And the thing is, it's like people will ask the question, well, fine, show me a video of one going off. Prove that it can happen. Prove that it can happen. Prove that it can happen. You want proof that it can happen? The Department of Defense spends millions of dollars every year developing battery technology that's safer, and they continue to do that because they don't want batteries blowing up on the individual warfighters, right?
Yeah.
And they have not. What's that?
Look what happened to Boeing.
Yeah. And the thing is, they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars annually trying to make safer chemistry. And they're not doing anything as silly as putting a half an ohm load on a battery.
Mm-hmm.
They blow up in far less severe circumstances. And like I said, just because it hasn't blown up you and it hasn't blown up on your friend, doesn't mean that it's not gonna. And when it does, you'll remember that you were warned. But until then, laugh all you want, call people chicken for not for not wanting to do it. It's silly to put yourself at risk. And it's silly to put your house at risk, because when it ignites in your bedroom or on your living room floor, it's going to burn your house down.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I mean, we already give too much time to the subject, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It should be as simple as, it's really not safe. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And leave it at that.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
And by the way, here's the funny thing. In fact, I was having a conversation with J.C. West the other day about vaping safely at sub-ohm. And you know what? You can absolutely vape safely at sub-ohm if you want to. Get yourself a DNA 20, okay, and crank it up to 20 watts. And call it a day, okay? If things start getting ugly, the circuitry will disconnect from the battery, and no incident, no harm, no foul, because the load that the battery is seeing is the load that the boost circuit sees, is the load that the boost circuit creates. You can safely vape sub-ohm, but not on a mechanical PV.
No, and you really need to be using the correct battery. I was talking about that before you came in, Zen. There are batteries out there that have high enough C ratings in order to vape sub-ohms, but the batteries that we use are not those batteries.
That's correct. That's correct. But given the correct battery, a circuit in it which is creating boost, which will disconnect if something catastrophic happens on the other side, and won't put the battery into a severe load situation.
Right.
You can get enough power to drive a sub-ohm. But in a mechanical PV, all hell can break loose.
Somebody asked in the chat, what should you do if a battery does go into an event situation in a mechanical mod like a Zen?
Let go of it?
Yeah, throw it away from you as far as you can get it, and leave it alone for at least an hour, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah, try to get it outside if you can.
Yeah, definitely try and get it outside if you can.
Even if it means throw it through your window.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
So it is something you want to get as far away from you as possible, as short a time as possible,
as quickly as possible. Yeah, if you
out the window, just get it the hell away.
Yeah, if you can get the battery out of the device very quickly, I mean very quickly, you can save your device. But I just assume
I wouldn't risk that.
I just hell with the device.
Yeah.
I wouldn't risk if it's going into thermal runaway. Get it away from you, and never ever throw it in water.
Wow, I threw.
Yeah, no.
Probably wasn't a good idea, but I just wanted it out of the house.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. I don't think you even think about it. You want it the hell out of there now. And I threw it outside into the snow. It never occurred to me about water or anything, but I had already been burned, so I wanted it the hell out.
Yeah, well, out in the snow is better than in water in your house, because water and lithium can have a pretty violent reaction all by itself.
Yeah.
Gases and all that.
Oh, lithium can react to air.
Right.
I didn't.
Air can react to water. It can react violently to water.
Yeah.
Okay, so it could make a bad situation much worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now see,
the main thing is get it out of your house if you can. If you can't get it out of your house, get it onto a hard surface that isn't your carpet or your sofa,
Right.
Get it onto a hard surface, tile floor. You could put it into the sink without water in it. Someplace where if it decides to start shooting out flames, it's not going to create a fire.
Wow. Yeah, I do know Nitrobex actually has horrible scars on his arms from venting batteries.
Jeez, seriously?
Yeah, mentioning in the chat there. Yeah, I guess the chemicals got on him, burned him. Yeah, so
Matt,
he was talking about it the other day.
Matt, have you ever vented a battery? I think you have, right?
I'll be honest, I've vented several batteries.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I vented a battery in a lumberyard once. I mean, talk about a faux pas. That was pretty bad. Yeah, it's
scary, isn't it?
It is. It's terrifying. I actually vented a battery in Vegas. I saw 2 batteries vent at Vegas. Almost every event that I go to, there's a battery vent, and I happen to be in the area. So if you see me at an event, just stay away from me.
Yeah, I think Rock says if you're using sub-ohm coils and you see me, stay 30 feet the hell away from me. At least 30 feet. He said he may have a T-shirt made up for that for Vegas.
So
important safety tip: if you're vaping in Vegas, stay away from that.
Yeah. No, actually, it was first thing in the morning. I was there with my brother, and I woke up and I grabbed one of my batteries out of my PV and I slapped it in the charger, and there was another battery in the charger. And I went to make coffee, and my brother's still laying in the bed. He's groggy, waking up, and all of a sudden, there's this hiss, pop. The room fills with smoke, and we see this rocket fly across my bed. My brother dives out of his bed and hits the deck.
Yikes.
The whole room filled up with smoke. It charred like one side of the lampshade. This is one of those stories. I guess what happens in Vegas doesn't necessarily stay in Vegas, but
try to jet out of Vegas.
Yeah. But basically, what had happened was I was using a charger, and this was 2 years ago, guys. This was before there was a lot of real knowledge about battery safety and what a good charger was. This was a dual bay charger where the two bays were not isolated. They were on the same circuit. So one of the batteries most likely was flipped upside down when I put it into the charger, and I just didn't think about it when I put it in there. I didn't look at it correctly. So the batteries were in series wired to each other, so it was a hard short situation.
Yay!
Yeah, and one of them just flew. It just went off.
Oh, man. Scary.
Yeah. And then another lady, while we were there, had loose batteries in her purse, and they started to heat up, and we had to throw it outside. We were in one of the casinos. We had to throw it outside real fast.
Wow.
I mean, actually charging, I would say charging and carrying your batteries is probably a little bit more dangerous than even sticking them in your PV in a lot of ways.
So now I see people who carry their batteries like in their pocket, throw them in their pocketbook where it may get change, keys, any number of items. What's the best way to carry your batteries if you have to take batteries along?
Have a pouch or a case. A pouch or a case that only your batteries go in. Nothing else metallic.
Like something similar to these little cases.
Yep.
Yep.
A lot of you guys have got bags like this that some PV came in, and you probably never put the PV in it again because it's silly. You can stick any number of batteries that you want to in that bag until it's
that right there is what we sell. All of our batteries, every battery we sell comes with a bag like that for you to take them out.
You can throw them in there. And the thing is, a bag like this, they can go into there as long as there's nothing in there but the batteries. Put it in, pull it tight, close at the end. Nothing will go wrong unless something is in your pocket or purse that can pierce through and hit both ends of something.
Which is
odds are against it. Odds are against it.
That's a really great tip, actually.
And most of you have one of these and didn't pay a dime for it.
Yep.
Even better.
Yep.
They do. They tend to come with damn near every PV now, and I think that's a really great tip. Now, I wasn't sure if those were viable for carrying batteries, so I have, I don't know, a ton of little battery boxes. They're only $1, and I think they're the best way to carry batteries,
And the little battery boxes are cool, and I own a bunch of them, but I don't like the way they rattle in my pocket when I'm walking, okay? Whereas something like this doesn't rattle in your pocket.
Right.
And it's a little less bulky, too.
A little less bulky, a little better fit, Is that a battery in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? And the best part is it's free.
Right, right. Oh, absolutely. I think I'm going to post that as a great tip to carry batteries.
You know who told me that trick?
No?
Matt did.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So
it's a great idea, and frankly, I'm surprised no one has pinned it in a forum, because it really is a great idea,
Well, I'm only allowed to post so much in the forums, so.
I know that's right. So we do have questions about pipes and things. So is there any?
Can we give away a couple vape safes?
I would absolutely love to give away some vape safes for people who don't have them. I think that's a really awesome giveaway and really beneficial to the community as a whole.
Okay.
Chunk, we need a random number generator.
12, 16.
Or we could just pick a number. Even.
No, yeah.
Let me see. Where is Chunk? He must be. He's in the room. I do know. Get to work, Chunk. Let's go. Chunk is producing this show for us also.
Cool.
Actually, my site, my broadcasting gear went. I always have tech
It's
issues.
never worked, Siege. You know that.
I know. This is the only show that always has technical issues.
It should be
Of
called
some sort.
Technical Issues in the Woods.
Actually, somebody just asked what is a vape safe, and we didn't actually touch on that. I don't
Yeah,
think.
I probably interrupted right around then.
Yeah, this is. Where am I? Okay, can you see that? Okay, yeah, there's my battery. The vape safe is a magnetic PCB that goes on the end of the battery. It just sticks right to it.
So it goes on the top always, or it depends on what device and how the battery goes in. Does it always go on the top?
No, actually, I recommend actually putting it on the bottom, on the negative side. I happen to be using it in a Proberry, and I don't have any nipple top batteries, so I use it on the top of a flat top battery.
Thus bypassing the safety mechanism of.
I know, right?
Ooh, oh, the secrets of vapors.
Gotta make sure you put it in the right way. But yeah, do it like that. Pop it in there, and you are protected. You've got 7 amp guaranteed trip, 3.5 amps hold current. The Proberry is fully functional all the way up and down throughout its voltage ratings. You won't trip it at all unless you get a short.
Matt, what happens if you get a short?
If you get a short, the PCB that's in there is a very fast-acting fuse that basically just breaks the current draw very, very quickly, lightning fast, so that the battery is not held in a short circuit state for any length of time.
Awesome.
Then what happens?
If you continue to press the button in a short circuit state, saying, you know, why isn't my PV working? I can't figure out why my PV is not working. You will kill it, but if you remove your atomizer and change it out with something else, or check the ohms on your atomizer, make sure that you don't have a hard short, check your PV, make sure your PV does not have a hard short, the VapeSafe 2 will actually reset.
Okay.
And you can use it again.
Very cool.
So it's not a fuse, it's like a really quick circuit breaker that comes back after you reset it.
Right.
And is it easy to reset? It resets automatically?
It resets itself. It resets itself, and it resets itself pretty immediately.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. Good to know. All right, we have 65 viewers, so we're going to go 1 through 70. 1 through 70, 1 through 70. And I'll put in a start, and you guys grab a number. How many? We could do the first however many you want to give away instead of doing them one at a time, or we could do it that way also. Up to you, totally.
I doesn't matter to me.
All right. Well, let's we'll just do it. We'll just do them one at a time then. All right. So let me just go in. Start, actually. And here we go. Numbers, please, everybody. Awesome. Love to watch the numbers fly. Thank you, Witchy, who is going to piff hers if she wins to somebody who's got a mech mod. And can these be used also? These can also be used in variable voltage mods because you're using it in the Proberry, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
So they're good for all mods.
Pretty much. There are a few mods that the VapeSafe won't fit in, but there's not many.
And so an Ego would be one probably, which really doesn't open up anyway. So.
Yeah, you can't remove the battery. I think earlier versions of the Lava Tube, the spring travel wasn't quite enough in order for it to fit in there, and get the cap closed, but I think some of the newer revisions that it'll fit in there okay. Basically, it's a matter of travel, how much spring travel you have in mod in order to add that extra. I think the profile on the vape safe is like 2, maybe 3 millimeter.
Okay.
So if you can fit something 2-3 millimeters tall extra into your mod, it'll fit.
Awesome. All right, let's do.
Oh, and it's designed for 18, 16 series and up batteries. It won't go into 14 series mods. We're working on a 14 series as well as a more stable 26 series as well.
No, this is not for a date with me for Ripple. The number is 32. Come closest without going over, and you will get yourself a vape safe. 32, Craig Carr on the nose. Let me see if there are any others. I don't see. I see 33 for Trevor. Looks like that's it. You can use it in your. He actually, Craig Karp is one of the guys you gave a Zen to 2 weeks ago or so.
Cool. Those are almost ready to go out, by the way.
Okay. Do you want to? I think I did let you guys know that there's a slight delay in the sending out of the kits, and they will go out next week.
Yep. I apologize for the delay, but it's been a little crazy around here.
No problem.
With the Zen 2 launch.
Craig, you're going to send a PM to me either on Skype or Facebook to Cigarbabe. Actually, Matt, I will just have them send you, or...
Can I get the addresses from you? Would that be...
Absolutely. I'll have them PM me, and I'll Skype them to you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Good?
Yeah.
So, Craig and anybody else who wins, you're going to send an email to cigarbabe@comcast.net.
Matt, can I use a vape safe in a groove to keep it from blowing up?
No.
Oh, darn.
No, I think a little piece of tape would do better than a face.
You don't think lining it in epoxy, like some of the stuff I've seen, will help any? No?
Hot glue. You need hot glue.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right. So we've given away a vape safe, Matt. How many did you want to?
I don't know. We can give away a couple. I don't want to take up too much time doing it, but I do want to give a couple away.
Give thousands away. Give hundreds away.
Why don't we, Chunk, can you set this up so we can pick like several, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever number you say, Matt, we can pick them all at once and.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Why don't we just do one contest? We'll pick four more winners out of the next run.
So, Chunk, can you set that up to pick 4 more winners, please? Using the hat or something like that, so we can get back to questions, and we'll do that right now, and then we'll be all set. All done with it. Cool. And thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. I'm sure there are a lot of people who really could benefit by using. I'm sure everybody could benefit by using them, but I know a lot of people, are on fixed incomes and are very limited, even in what they have right now. So
yeah,
So
well,
I
I kind of liken the vape safe to a condom. Nobody likes to wear a condom, but that you just got to,
Yeah. Life.
What?
You're talking about your life.
But
But
yes, even in the butt.
Alrighty. So I do have a small list of questions for you, Matt. Well, Chunk is, oh, that's very nice, Craig. Thanks so much. I'm going to leave that to Chunk to get set up. I don't see a message from you, Chunk, so I'm hoping you're going to grab four more names. So Matt, do you make variable voltage pipes? And if not, why not? And is it something you've thought of doing?
We do not. We did a year ago. I made a very limited run of pipes that had hardwired boosters, ego boosters in them. The problem that I have with putting variable voltage electronics into my pipes is that variable voltage technology with a removable battery is a recipe for disaster.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And why?
And well, there's just a lot of care and time and effort that goes into building these pipes, and one wrong, just put the battery in the wrong way around in the pipe, and it's dead. It's done. You can't use it anymore. You got to send it back to me to get it fixed.
Yep. It's too easy to mess the circuit up.
Yeah. So there are devices, external peripheral devices that you can use, like the Ego Booster. There is an Ego Booster 2 that's supposed to hit the market that will have the crown technology inside, so it'll be variable voltage and variable power, variable wattage, whatever you want to call it, switchable. That's the audible crown type device. And you just screw it onto the Ego thread, and then it has another Ego on the other end, and you put whatever atomizer on the end of that. And if that little device blows for any reason, or the electronics go on it, you don't have to replace the whole pipe. You can still use the pipe. You just get a new boost device.
And that crown device is really cool, and it works really well.
It really does. It's great technology. We're still trying to fine tune the US box using the crown, and I'm really looking forward to the booster too. I love the interface. I love the audible interface on it. It's a solid, reliable setup. It really is.
Make sure you save one of those for me too, by the way.
Oh, I will.
Show the US box for the viewers who are not familiar with the different kinds of pipes you make.
Yeah, this is a box mod. This isn't really a pipe. That's the US box. It's a pretty small device. Mm-hmm. This will hold a 2400 milliamp battery, USB port in the side. The production model will be a lot cleaner, but USB port in the side, switch on the side, real comfortable in your hand. You won't be able to take the cover off. This has a lithium polymer battery pack inside, so it's hardwired. Nice. Meant for variable voltage.
Nice. I like
really
that.
Cool.
It looks really sturdy and pocket friendly too.
Yeah, it's about the size of a pack of cigarettes. I mean, that's what we were going for, is something that's familiar to smokers size wise. Pack of cigarettes, and this will last you all day. Variable voltage power, and it's got a little bit of style to it. Yeah. And we'll have different engraved covers and stuff like that on them.
Very cool. Asti is asking, is it insulated on the inside?
Insulated, like, you mean not like the groove?
Yes.
Well, it's wood.
Not like the groove.
Yeah, it's wood is an insulator, and the vinyl cover is an insulator. So yes, it is completely insulated.
And I'm not sure that everybody's familiar with the types of what insulation is on devices, because up to now all they know is that the groove was just the inside had nothing between the covers, the batteries, and the board.
Right.
And I have to wonder if people who have never opened up a mod think that it's might sort of relate to insulation, like in your house, like there's a layer between.
Not really the same thing.
Yeah.
An insulator is just a non-conductive material. and you want non-conductive materials around electronics, basically.
Okay. Would this be considered insulated?
From what?
I'm just asking.
Hold that up again and stop it. Don't spin it so it can get a chance to focus.
I think Play-Doh is a good insulator.
Is that what that is? Is Play-Doh? What is that?
Well, this
I think it's Sculpey.
I don't know what it is, but when I
Bakelite.
do know there's a lot of glue in here, but I do know when I got it, I put a battery in, which it promptly fell right out, even with the cover on.
Well, that's always a bonus, you know. It can't hurt you if the battery won't stay in it.
Well, that's exactly right. And so in terms of safety, this device is absolutely safe without the cover.
What is that thing?
It's a novelty. We'll leave it at that.
Oh, you want to see a cool novelty? Hang on. Hang on a second.
You mean I have a cool novelty right here, which is my favorite that Annie sent me. You see this? Right? This is my favorite novelty.
Oh, wow. Very nice. Very nice. And they modeled it after me, size and everything.
It's size, appropriate, right?
It's perfect. Okay, you ready? You ready for the coolest thing ever? Here we go.
Pac-Man! Oh my God, that's too cute!
It's
It's a little Pac-Man TV.
Nice. Little arcade game. I still gotta mod this guy here.
Oh, sweet! A little bobblehead. Oh my God, that's so cute.
Little bobblehead Thor.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, hang on a second. I'll be right back. As long as we're going to play Can You Top This?
I think I'm just gonna leave my little M&M thingy that came apart on my computer. Although she was cute.
Oh Lord, what's Zen gonna come back with?
I don't know. That's an M&M.
Nice. Yeah, I had a guy wanted me to mod a Buddy Christ. He wanted me to sculpt a Buddy Christ, and I was like, no way in hell, dude. That's
Oh man, how difficult would that be?
yeah, no, I don't even do that kind of detailed work sculpting. I'm more abstract. But
oh my God.
then he was like, well, just get it. I have a Buddy Christ. I actually have one, and I was like, I'm not gonna mod a Buddy Christ. I don't do that.
Oh, that's crazy.
Somebody can do that for you, I'm sure, but it's not.
Okay, you ready for my bobblehead?
Oh my God, it says Zen.
You have a bobblehead.
It's a bobblehead Zen. Oh my God, that's too sweet. Now, how did you rate a bobblehead?
And people call me arrogant.
Because not that I don't think you're worth it, I do, but I'm wondering who made that.
Okay, so in a former life when I played drums a lot for a living, the drum company that endorses me did some bobbleheads.
Oh, how cool! Very cool.
Yeah, so that's older, but it's but yeah, I should modify that so I can vape it.
I think that would be awesome.
Somebody asked if the kick acts like a vape safe. I do not know.
Well, let's see. First of all, I can answer that to a certain degree. Okay? If you put a dead short on the output side of a kick, it won't fire.
Mm-hmm.
If it causes to go into an overcurrent mode, it will shut down. And if your battery gets below a certain voltage, it will also not fire. So it kind of protects on a number of different levels. Including not having quite enough power to get the job done in some cases. Here's the big difference between the kick and the vape safe, as I understand it. Is the kick is a buck boost module, okay, and it affects the battery life. Okay, so because it's generally being used in a boost mode. A vape safe is not going to shorten the amount of time that your battery lasts. Okay, so even though there's some protection that's added by the kick, there's some benefits to it and there's some liabilities to it as well. Whereas the vape safe is a from my experience is an absolutely benign device to put in there. That unless there's something wrong, it's transparent to the circuit.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect anything unless there's a short. Somebody had asked how long do the vape safe last. It really depends on use, and I mean, it could last forever really if it's never shorted. But if it is in a short situation and you continue to press the button or you hold the button down for a lengthy period of time, you'll destroy it permanently.
Hey, I'm watching some stuff going on in the chat window, and Kathy East said one of your old batteries has given its last puff almost 3 years old.
3 years old.
Matt, you want to touch on battery life?
And what's the safe length of time you should keep a battery? I mean, should you keep them just because it's still working? Like Asti had one 3 years old, and I even have some probably almost 3 years old now. They are sitting in a box and I don't use them, but when should you generally get rid of batteries?
Let me start by saying this. I'm not educated enough to answer that question, but I will tell you what I do. Typically, I replace my batteries about every 3 to 6 months. I won't use a battery that's been used for longer than that. I don't feel that they last long enough, and I just would assume get a new battery. But Zen might be able to answer that question a little bit better.
I was trying to feel that. I was trying to send it out to you so you could puff up a little bit and say I know some stuff. All right, fine. You went with that version of the answer. You can do that. Hey, listen. Here's the thing. Battery.
I don't know everything, Zen.
Come on.
Okay. It's true.
Okay, so
I'll admit if I don't know something.
So I'm going to tell you something. Nobody knows everything, but batteryuniversity.com is a pretty good place to learn a lot about batteries. Okay. Now, I personally don't like to keep any lithium chemistry battery that I use as hard as I use a battery to vape with. I don't keep them longer than 6 months, okay? Because honestly, when a battery is older and its chemistry becomes less and less stable the longer it exists, and you increase the likelihood of something going wrong by using a battery which has older electrolyte in it. So over time, the batteries become less and less stable. Brand new batteries can have problems, absolutely, but older batteries are more likely to have problems. So it's one of those. Batteries are expensive, and good batteries are even more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But safety is kind of important.
It's kind of priceless, really.
Yeah. How do you put a price on that? I tend to make a point of, when I go to a vape meet, which now seems to be every 6 weeks. No, actually, when I go I travel to a lot of vape meets, and when I go, I tend to take 1 or 2 batteries with me, and then buy a bunch of them while I'm there. I also put the dates on them, like Matt does, so I know how old they are.
That's a great idea.
But I put a piece of Scotch tape. I put a piece of Scotch tape over what I write on them so that it doesn't rub off.
Yeah.
So the chemistry inside does degrade.
Oh, absolutely, and there's good information on that, on how that happens, I believe, at batteryuniversity.com.
I can put the link in the room for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a very useful site. There's a lot of information there that you don't need but there is information there that you do need.
Somebody had asked what batteries work well with the vape safe. Any battery, really, will work well with the vape safe. And then somebody else had asked about battery disposal, which is actually a good question since we're talking about how often to get rid of batteries. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, they have a lithium battery disposals.
Or Staples or Office Max or Office Depot or Radio Shack. Or game station, there's places where you can toss your lithium batteries for safe disposal.
Yeah,
everything in that battery is recyclable too. So
I have this whole thing here. This is the batteries that I know that are dead that I don't use anymore.
Right.
And once this gets pretty full, I take it over to Lowe's and I just dump them all in there.
Okay. I think somebody said they just had an explosion at Best Buy from somebody dumping batteries in their battery box. Actually, in the chat, I just saw.
Well, that could be due to God knows what kind of junk and trash somebody might throw in there,
Oh yeah. It says they just dumped a box full of batteries in the trash.
Yeah, if there was like a piece of wire or something in there with those batteries, you could definitely.
Right.
Okay, so Vapors Break said, why not throw them in the trash? Let me answer that.
Okay.
Or Matt, you can if you want to, but
go ahead.
If you throw a battery in the trash, well, first of all, you're throwing chemicals into the trash that you don't really want to have end up in landfills in general. But because there's some heavy metals and there's all sorts of other swell stuff that would be best to not put in landfills. But more importantly, these batteries can start a fire in your trash if there's pieces of metal, soda cans, all sorts of things, and they can start a fire in a landfill as well.
Or in a trash truck.
Or in a trash truck.
Your trash trucks are compactors. They squash that trash, and if you puncture a battery, it is just as volatile as shorting it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you don't want the poor guy that's taking your garbage out to be driving down the road with a garbage fire in his truck behind him.
Yeah, don't make his day any more miserable than it already is.
Yeah. No, Ripple says us safety people make him laugh.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, you know what, John, it's I know there was some sarcasm there, but that's the funny thing is, we're not hall monitors or guys that are safety patrol here. We just think that
people should know.
Let me speak for me, not for Matt, but I just think that that an area that is really unpromoted in this is battery safety. And generally speaking, when somebody goes into the topic of battery safety, there's always somebody that comes along and says, "Well, it hasn't blown up on me, so it's just fine." And and I get it. We're the same people that said smoking is safe because we don't have lung cancer yet.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, there are hazards here. I would never be so bold as to call one of these batteries safe. I would, but there are safer choices that you can make in using them.
Yeah.
The other thing is the way we use these cells, which is open and with open connections. The way we do use these cells is not the way these cells were designed to be used.
No.
They were designed to be put into battery packs with protection circuits and sealed away from our hands, where we couldn't put them in things.
Like we're doing now.
Like we're doing now. We have adopted a use for these batteries that is other than the intent of the original equipment manufacturer. And that's so we should treat them with a little more respect than that. These are not your 9-volt batteries, your AA batteries, your C batteries, your D batteries that are designed to be used in this configuration. We are using them differently than they were designed.
I've thought about that, like, I've been called a safety freak and overly cautious, but I think that has to do with my shop background.
Yeah.
I work in a wood shop. I work with dangerous tools in a dangerous environment, and safety is pretty forefront in my daily tasks. I mean, I have to make sure that I'm using my equipment properly, and if I'm not, I could lose a finger, and I like to count. I really do.
And you have other people working there also that you're.
Yeah, I gotta make sure that the people that are working for me are
Um,
not only are they operating the equipment safe, but I have to inform them how to use that equipment
right.
safely. The more people that I get working for me, I say, okay, well, you do this, this, and this, and then they go after, they start moving towards the machine, and I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, you need to be doing it this way, So, um, I think a lot of my edge on safety has to do with my shop background.
Well,
Mine too.
I think the more you know, the more safe you're inclined to, the safer you're inclined to be.
Yeah.
Vapory is asking about what does it mean when it vents?
It's an explosion. It's a sudden release of energy, a very sudden release of energy. It's like I said earlier. It's like lighting a large diameter bottle rocket without a stick on it.
Right.
Yeah. It's frightening.
Yes.
Also, Caterpillar wanted to know, even if he puts the dates on the batteries, but he doesn't use them too often, how can you tell if they're done? I know batteries have cycles, right? They're rated. Are they also rated for how many cycles, or no?
Yes, they are, depending on the battery. I would say most of the batteries that we use probably won't exceed 300 cycles. A lot of them are rated more. I don't know that I buy that.
I've never seen one go that long.
Yeah.
And when you say cycles, you're talking about how many times it's been used and charged?
Discharged and recharged,
yeah. There's an interesting thing about a lithium-ion cell versus virtually any other cell, is that lithium-ion cells do not like to be fully discharged before being charged. Okay, they can reach a lower voltage wherein it becomes unsafe to charge it. Okay, because the chemistry is unstable at the lower voltages. Whereas your standard AA battery that you're used to seeing for your flashlight, or a D cell or a C cell, you can run those to straight up dead and recharge them. With a lithium-ion chemistry, and in fact any lithium chemistry, if you get the voltage, much, and different batteries are rated at different points, but I think it's safe to say if you get it much below 3 volts before you start charging it, you're in harm's way.
Yeah, you'll tank your battery if you go much below 3 volts.
Yeah,
it's pretty well done.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where. But a charge cycle is measured on these batteries literally from sort of that minimum charge point, which is right around 3 volts, 3.1 volts, back up to 4.2. Okay, so if you run your battery down to say 3.5 and then charge it back up to 4.2, that's a half a charge cycle. That's not a full charge cycle. Okay. Because it's time on the charger so that really affects the chemistry, not how many times it's been on the charger, but how many hours it's been on the charger.
Yeah.
So when they rate them for 200 cycles or 300 cycles, that's generally speaking, and you need to look at the battery spec sheets to see what the recharge point is. But in some cases that might actually be 200 half cycles or 300 half cycles, not 300 full cycles.
It also depends on what kind of charger you're using as well, because
the faster you charge it, the more unstable it is.
Yeah. And there are certain. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
There are certain very specific ways that chargers are designed to charge certain lithium-ion batteries. like hydrate batteries are supposed to be charged a certain way. Lithium-ion batteries are supposed to be charged a certain way. They deliver a certain amount of current for a certain period of time, then that current raises or drops according to what that battery is supposed to get. There's a whole nother side of electronic engineering just behind how to properly charge your battery and which charger you're using. So it really is a good idea to buy a good, decent charger for your batteries and not just some, something that came in a kit.
Right.
That's a little wall wart,
Yeah.
Kurt asked if you're using a series of batteries, say 218-650s, and one of those vents, will the other one vent because the one is vented? Will it?
No, not necessarily.
Or not necessarily?
No. I actually, in most scenarios that I have seen, only one of the batteries in a stacked or series situation will vent.
Yep, and it's usually the one closest to the load.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not always.
And by load you mean, because we have quite a few new people in the room.
The load is your atomizer.
Next to your atomizer. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So some of the new chargers charge really fast. The Night Cores, the X-Tar, or some of those where it has 2 speeds at which you can charge, I'm guessing. You think those are safer than, a lot of people are using the old Trustfire ones, the cheapest ones that you can buy at any vape shop. Do you think I have a Pila, I have a Nightcore, I have an X-Tar, I have multiple Trustfires that are sitting in a box because I just don't need them anymore. But
yeah, I have the IntelliCharger. I'm not an electronic engineer by any means, and I hope that the chargers that we're getting are designed appropriately for the batteries that we're doing, and that's about all I can say.
Yeah, because it's something that's really never been discussed. You buy a charger, you're kind of assuming, pretty much, because there really hasn't been anything written. There has been a little written about trickle charging and things like that, but really not, are these for IMRs? Are these for protected bats? Are these good for, whatever people might be using? There really hasn't been anything said, talked about, or written about those, those issues.
Somebody asked what's the best battery or charger for the batteries that we use. The 2 chargers that we've got on our site work really well, the TR001 and the IntelliCharger i4. We've got a new one coming too. It's the one that has voltage readout and all of that. We haven't had too many problems out of either of those. I think we've only had one TR001 that we had an issue with, and other than that, they seem to be very solid chargers.
Yeah, I think the TR001 is a great cheap charger. Okay,
yeah.
So if you're going to buy an inexpensive charger, it's a very, very good one. The new Night Core seems to be a pretty good one, although I'm always cautious of something that charges too fast. So you got to be careful with the high rate of charge.
It
one
does
of the
charge very fast. But the 001s can be used to charge 26-650s, right?
001 won't fit a 26-650.
Okay.
Well, I guess you can kind of trick it in there.
It will fit.
I thought the 001 was. I only bought it to charge big bats with.
Yeah, the 20.
It'll fit wonky in there, but it'll fit.
Yeah, you got to kind of trick it in there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked a question in the thread about the storage voltage. Madman Matt asked it. It's a great question.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between storage voltage between lithium ion and lithium polymer?
Yeah, and shelf life. Its shelf life was actually that's on the same lines.
Yeah. One of the things he said that he thought that the recommended storage for the LiPo was 3.75 or something close to that. In my experience, the one thing you don't want to do with a LiPo is run it down and not recharge it immediately.
Yeah.
That's kind of the key there. If you want to charge it back up to full and then put it into storage, it's going to degrade at a rate of about 10% per month. So
it's about 3.7, and then it'll steady out for about 6 months.
Right, exactly. So if you charge it up to like 4.1, 4.2, it'll lose about 10% per month until it hits that optimum, and then it'll sit there for longer. But you never want to store a LiPo uncharged.
Yeah, I got some batteries in, some 18650s in, that did not come in with a decent charge on them. They were at about 3 volts, and I think out of 25 18650s, there were 10 of them that were irrecoverable. I mean, there was nothing we could do with them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, most of my batteries come half charged usually, with a pretty decent charge on them. So I was unaware that they could in fact come totally uncharged, or.
Well, it wouldn't be totally uncharged because then it won't take a charge, but they can be, depending on how long they've been sitting on the shelf.
They can deplete to nothing.
They can deplete to 0, and that's not a good thing. Alex D619 made a comment where he said, in general, I've been told with any battery for car, cell, mod, etc., to do slow charges, as the battery will have a longer full lifetime span as compared to a quick charge. That's absolutely true,
yes,
Alex.
It is. And I have to say, I have noticed with the IntelliCharger, the battery life between cycles is greatly reduced.
I agree.
My TR01, or TR001, sorry, if I charge my 18350s on that charger versus the IntelliCharger, I get almost twice the battery life out of that 18350.
Yep.
I wondered why, I'm going through a lot more batteries using, this supposedly better charger, I mean, they charge very, very quickly, but then they're 18350, so, and really I don't know enough about batteries as I'd like to, or probably what the minimum should be.
Matt touched on something interesting, okay? Because if you want your 18350 battery to give you the longest duty cycle between charges, put it on a TR001.
Okay.
Okay. The newer chargers that charge much, much faster will deplete that battery much, much faster. Yep. Okay, so if you want the longest time out of your 350, in my experience, the 001 is the one that will give you the longest battery life. Not surprisingly, it's also the one that will take the longest to charge it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody asked. Somebody asked, should the DX650? So he's talking about my PV, the DX650. Should I order button tops? T-Max, my PVs are designed for use with only AW batteries, which means that if you're doing that, then you will be getting a nipple top battery. So, to answer that question.
Okay, great. Wow.
Somebody asked about MNKE versus AW.
Yes.
You have an opinion on that, Mike?
Well, I have an opinion on it, but my answer is still the same. Mine are designed for use with AW batteries.
All you recommend.
Well, that is what they are designed for.
Right.
Okay. The MNKE battery is an absolute powerhouse. Yep. It's a wonderful battery, and it is definitely an outstanding battery. I think that it's definitely a great battery compared, and AW is also a great battery. But for the purpose of manufacturing something, I have to dictate what battery the device is designed for.
Well, that's a good point, Mike. I mean, as a mod maker, there are certain design specs that we set up, and we have to build our mod around what is available, and we have to work within those standards. So we pick, like I picked the eFest 18350s are the ones that I use because and they're flat top, not nipple top, because the tolerances that I have to work with require that battery, and you can't put a nipple top in my pipe and make it work. It won't fire.
Yeah. Now, here's an interesting thing, and it might help answer some questions about why I specify the batteries that I specify. When you look at, if you know, let's say you've got a flashlight, okay? It's going to tell you what battery is designed to go in that flashlight somewhere on that flashlight. It's going to say it's a UM1, a UM2, a UM3, okay? And what that means is any battery with the specification UM1, UM2, UM3, whatever it's called out, is an insurable risk in that device. In the realm of lithium-ion batteries and any lithium chemistry batteries, there is not a code available, okay? Which means the insurance underwriter says to you, okay, what battery are we insuring this for use with? And at that point, I have to dictate what battery it's going to be, and I have to make a choice based on what's widely available that I know is a high-quality piece that virtually anyone can get without jumping through hoops, that I can then provide with what's that?
The MNKE does not fall under that category.
And the MNKE does not fall under that category, so I haven't put it through underwriting with that battery. eFest is becoming more and more available, but it still doesn't fit into that same category as the AW.
No, they don't. Somebody said that they could stick an AW in my pipes. Yes, you can. They are to spec the right height, even though they're nipple top, but other nipple top batteries are not.
Okay, T-Max, you know, and again, the topic of this show is not specifically my PV, so CB, I'm going to ask if I can answer some questions about it.
Absolutely.
And Matt, it's you know, are you cool with that?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
fine.
so
this is great conversation.
Okay, so T-Max, you asked, will the AW battery rattle in the DX650? The answer to that question is every battery will rattle in the DX650. Okay, my PV is designed. I don't know if you can't hear it probably. My PV is designed for the battery to for the battery to slide in it. The battery is not held captive between 2 points in my PV, and it's absolutely on purpose. Whichever reviewer decided I'm going to shake a PV and say if the battery moves, it must be a bad PV, needs to be shot.
Thank you.
Because nothing could be further from the truth.
Yep.
The way the switch in my PV works is when you push the button, and Matt, you'll love this because you may not know this. When you push the button, it slides the battery into the positive connection. Okay? So instead of the battery sitting there captive to the positive connection and then the switch coming up and hitting it and causing an arc when it hits, it makes a connection to the bottom. There's a slight amount of resistance in the spring. It pushes the battery, and no arc happens when it hits there because it's not in contact with the positive. It pushes the battery into the positive. Because there's resistance in the spring, it doesn't arc. And then after it makes the full connection, the switch naturally tips to the side, bypassing the spring. Again, no arc happens. So we have no arcing in this PV because that battery slides. Arcing is the enemy of a mechanical PV.
Yeah.
Okay. And this design is designed to minimize arcing, which means you have to clean the terminals less. And when I went to gold-plated contacts, it became even more critical to make sure you don't arc right through the gold. So every battery rattles in a Zen PV and always will.
That's a slick switch right there.
I'm glad you like it. It's you know, a lot of guys with kicks were having trouble with it. And I met with Brandon at Evolve, who said, "What's going on here? And why are people, you know, making this comment?" I said, "It's because at the point that the battery first makes contact, there's about 1/3 of an ohm of resistance in the spring, and it causes the kick to soft start, okay, and then it sees a sudden no resistance at the negative end, and the thing says, oh, whoa, what do I do? I don't know what to do. So so there will be a there'll probably be a correction in the kick coming out for that at some point, because they didn't realize that the design. Brandon from Evolve said that the switch design was absolutely brilliant, and he says, how are you going to get people to not complain about the rattle? And I said, oh, they're gonna complain about the rattle, but once people understand what that's all about, they'll realize it's actually a better design. And it's interesting with, there's a ton of people that have been using the original Genesis ones, and they're all used to the rattle,
Right.
and now all of a sudden there's literally hundreds and hundreds of people that have never had a Genesis PV, because we finally have something that for people that don't want to rebuildable. We got the Cardo tank and we got the 510 version, and they're all like, hey, it rattles. Rattles must be junk.
Yeah.
Somebody said
And
vape safe in there, it won't rattle.
well, here's the thing. The vape, if you put a vape safe in it, the rattle is less than a millimeter. Okay. So putting a vape safe in it leaves a slight gap at the back end. Putting a kick in it leaves a slight gap at the back end also. And the way to solve that is and it actually looks really good. You just drop an O-ring on there. I don't know if you can see that.
Around the threads.
But just drop an O-ring there, and it's a number 16 O-ring, and it looks like it belongs there because, surprise, it does. So if you want to put a vape safe in it, and I highly recommend that you do, just pop the O-ring on there, and that's it. And if you choose to use it without a vape safe, take the O-ring off, and you are gonna have battery rattle, because battery, and we don't call it rattle, we call it switch slide, because what it does is it's turning the battery into a part of the switch.
Well, you don't get too much rattle out of my pipes anymore. The tolerances are fairly tight, but some of them do rattle a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's switch slide. We need that tolerance for switch slide. That's a great term.
Yeah. And actually I've got this little beauty here, handcrafted by him.
Gorgeous.
Has got the slightest amount of movement in there. But you need in some cases, in the case of my PV, it's part of the design, and so I know 1,000 things if my Z2 doesn't rattle. Crack says that. Cardo Tank 650. Are you running an AW battery in it? Would be the question, because if you are, it's probably moving. But I think the Zen and the TI rattle, but the battery is a little bit tighter fit, so the rattle isn't as noticeable, says Car Machine. That is true. When I went to the gold-plated contacts, I actually put a little more slide in it, because I want to make sure that that we don't get arcing. So my mini rattles a little bit, but not the 490. Well, there you go.
I never thought it was a big deal, frankly. I mean, I was so impressed with the device as a whole. It just never was an issue for me personally.
Well, for the last 2 weeks, I get 10 calls a day.
I bet.
With people saying, my battery's rattling, and I point them to the first question on my FAQ, which is, hey, my battery's rattling. Is there something wrong? And I respond with saying, no, there's something right. So, and it explains it, I think, adequately. But again, suddenly we went from kind of 50 people a month coming into the Genesis world over the last 18 months to suddenly nearly 1,000 of them in 2 weeks. So
that's a
So it's a big learning curve, and for a lot of people it was a bit of a shock, you know.
Oh,
So
I'm sure.
it'll calm down. It'll calm down. So
Yeah, when you up your production, you have to up your customer service and your customer service response.
yeah, it's actually turned into we're about to port a telephone line just to answer those questions because
We're gonna need to too soon. I mean, we're doing 50 pipes a week pretty much on a regular basis, and you know we've got thousands of pipes out there anymore, and that's a lot to manage. It really is.
Huge numbers, Matt, for pipes you're making one at a time. You have plans to make more big battery pipes?
Yeah, we finally got the 26 series switches in, and I'm going to be trickling a few out. Actually, I want to get a 26 series properly sized vape safe so that we can eliminate some of the rattle on the bigger batteries and have a more stable platform for that battery to sit inside the pipe before I do too many. That's not to say they're dangerous the way they are or anything like that. It's just I would prefer a little bit more stability in the mod. But I am actually next Friday will be our last release for about a month because we're about to move into a new facility. So
everybody's moving.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you won't see any new pipes from us for about a month. So if anybody's looking to get a pipe and doesn't want to wait forever,
now's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when he starts making them again, I'll be jonesing for some more so bad they're all going to come to me.
I just want to give you an offer from Unfettered Soul, Annie. She says she will flash boobs for a 26-650 pipe.
I have the batteries, I have the blocks, I have the buttons, I have everything I need to make them. I just, it's going to be a couple months.
I have to look at the boobs.
It's going to be a couple months.
I think that was for Zen, actually. She's coveting that beautiful blue one that Zen got at Vape Fest.
Oh my God!
But I'm sure she'd be willing to, flesh for you also.
This is God's own e-pipe. This right here. This is. And not calling myself God, but this is. If God were sitting here, He would say, "Give that to me," because this thing.
And you would give it up?
I would, yeah, to Him, sure. You gotta hedge your bet in life, you know.
Absolutely.
This thing is.
It's magnificent.
This thing is so sexy. It's unbelievable.
I'm
not worthy, man.
It's sexier than you even.
Oh, it's as though that's hard to do.
I know it.
No, Matt, the thing is awesome.
It's so beautiful. I have to say, seeing it in person, it just doesn't translate through the screen. That thing is so drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. It does.
It doesn't do it justice. I mean,
it doesn't photograph well.
But in person, the colors just flash like opals. It is so gorgeous.
Yeah, and
I did get a new camera so that I could try and capture the pipes better. And if you go to my ECF thread, you can see some of the new photography of the pipes, and they really do pop a lot more. There's a lot more detail.
They are just so gorgeous. I really was coveting the purple one. That Shadow actually got was the one I really wanted. So I do have some questions that I got earlier from some of the people who are here in the show. Can you use a kick in any of your pipes? Is it possible to utilize the kick? If not, why not?
No, you can't. Our pipes are just solid wood bowls. They have one wire coming up to a ring at the top that the switch engages to. In order to use the kick, you have to have a metal body mod, a metal tube mod, or something like that to put it in. So there's basically no ground connection inside our pipes. You know, so I know a few guys that have hot wired or permanently wired kicks in them. You can do that, but I don't know. I mean,
is that something you'd recommend? I mean, I would think it would void your warranty for one.
Yeah, it would void the warranty. I mean, we could rebuild it, and there would be a fairly minimal charge to rebuild it. It's $25 if something goes wrong and we have to gut the thing. So that's not a big deal. I wouldn't warn against it per se, like say don't do it. It can be done. I don't know why you would want to do it, but yeah, no, it's the kick is not designed for use with our device,
right?
Basically.
I don't know. I think they're just fabulous as is. You know, I use mine with and you can use your pipes with rebuildables also. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Tyben asked which pipes fit the ZIDU, and I think you use the Ego connector on almost everything, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer is all of them.
Almost. There are a very few that may not, but yes, pretty much all of them.
This is a ZIDU on here.
Right.
And notice I just put that little curvy thing on there that you can buy for a couple of bucks.
Beauty ring.
And you can just rotate it and index it the way it needs to be indexed to put the wick where it belongs, and it works beautifully on there.
Yeah, the Loki is actually photoed on ECF with the ZIDU, even with the shroud there.
Yeah.
Around the atomizer. I've designed this to fit the ZOW.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
That is quite beautiful. Quite beautiful.
And this will stand straight up and down like that when you sit it.
Nice.
So,
and that's a problem with some of them, because unless you have a stand that can keep it sort of upright, so you're not
right.
confused.
Well, that's why we did the dragons. The dragons are freestanding. You can slap a ZOW on a dragon or any heavy, bulky Addy on there, and even with the long stem, for the most part, most of them they'll freestand even with a heavy device on the back end of them.
Nice, really nice. Those are just beautiful, just beautiful. Carrie was looking to buy a couple. The websites were hard to find them on. Okay, not sure quite what she's talking about.
Probably that we're always out of stock.
Well, I noticed that I was actually just in there, and I do want to talk about the RBA you're using too, which is available on your site. Want to tell us a little bit about it? It's a beautiful brass RBA you have there.
First, if people are looking for pipes, our releases are on Fridays, typically between 2 and 4. Every Friday, if we're not releasing, we let people know on Facebook and on ECF, and there's usually preview pictures beforehand so that you can find what you like and get in there and get it quick. Typically, half of our inventory is gone within the first hour of a release, and then the rest trickles out over the following week. So if you want one, you got to get in there at the right time and snag it up. Now the brass RBA, these are machined over in Russia, and you can't see it in this with this camera, but this has some really nice engraving in it. It's it's a full brass RBA. You don't see that in the vaping world really. So it's got some character. It's got some different stuff going on with it.
Very sexy.
Yeah, you can see better pictures of it at our site if you want to check it out. They're $80. They're not cheap. They're 2-post RBA. They've got great airflow. Love what they've done with the airflow design on these. They have a dripping capacity. Some guys say that you can drip 7-8 drops. Typically, I put about 5-6 drops without leaking. The only reason it would leak is if you overfilled it. But yeah, it's a pretty killer RBA. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I can't wait to get it. So, Matt, you're opening a store soon in Georgia, right?
Yeah, in Lawrenceville, just a little bit away from my house. We got 6,000 square feet. We're actually moving the wood shop into the location, as well as our e-liquid production and the vape store. And we're working on a new line of e-liquid as well. We're working on a new line called Raw that will be all nets, naturally extracted tobaccos.
Nice.
And I'm looking forward to actually getting some space to work with. That's gonna be fun. We're so crammed right now. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a pretty big space, and a lot of people are looking forward to the store being in Georgia, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's really not much close to Atlanta. We'll be the closest store to Atlanta. Of course, there's Vape Ride out in Woodstock.
Mhm.
We're good friends with those guys. Anybody in the area can drive out there. They're great people.
Yeah.
And I think there's another store up in Conyers, I believe. But yeah, there's not much around here really.
Do you have plans on having your wood shop like out so people can actually see you working on things? Will they be able to see you working on pipes or?
That was actually a huge topic of discussion, and I've decided for liability reasons and so that we can be left alone to work that you will not be able to see into or go into the wood shop. We can't be interrupted by customers coming in there every day. We have a lot of work to do. We're very focused on what we're doing. You kind of get into a zone with this kind of art, and you can't be interrupted. I even bark at my employees when they come in and I'm working on a freehand piece and they come in to ask me how many cartomizers should I buy today. I get a little pissed.
I can't say I'd blame you there, right? Definitely wouldn't blame you at all. So you're going to be making e-liquids in this new space also? You'll be able to mix your liquids and...
Yeah, we'll have probably 2,000 square foot dedicated for the store,
Huge.
1,000 square foot dedicated for an e-liquid lab, and the rest, the other 3,000, will be dedicated for the shop.
Very nice, very nice.
Somebody asked if I was opening a shop in August.
That was my next one. Yeah, are you opening a shop in August then?
I am opening a shop in August. It will be the weirdest vape store in the world. It's really kind of a Genesis factory outlet.
Nice.
And there'll be a vape lounge there. We have Matt got 6,000 square feet. He always has to outdo me. I got 4,400. So the ladies like him better too. But
it's the hair. It's the hair.
It's the hair. I know. He's got the hair. I got. It's like I'm an upside down him. But yeah, we've got 4,400 square feet. There will be machine tools under glass, as I'm calling it. In fact, we just placed the order for a Haas ST10 and a VF2 mill that's going to go into a shop that when you're in the vape lounge you can look through the glass and watch people machining stuff.
Cool.
But it will be behind glass. You won't be able to walk in there and get near anything. There's serious occupational safety issues with interrupting people that are operating dangerous machinery.
Sure.
But so it will be isolated. So in the vape lounge you'll be able to come in and visit and look through and see the operation. There will be not a factory tour per se, but you can pretty much it's pretty transparent as far as what's going on in there.
Right.
You'll be able to see everything but the gold plating line because of toxic fumes. We have to not let people see that, but. One of the things that we're going to do there is there's going to be limited releases that are only available at the store. So when you're coming through town, you want to stop by and see what's there.
So I got to buy a plane ticket then, huh?
What's that?
I gotta buy a plane ticket then, huh?
Well, that's where the limited stuff will be, and and as far as what devices will be in there, obviously it'll be all the Genesis stuff. We'll probably have a few beginner things, but the real focus is it's a destination location for Zenfidels to stop in and say hello and visit and vape and chill. The store's very unstore. There won't be counters with with employees standing behind it saying, "Hi, can I help you?" And all that kind of stuff. It's just it's going to be more of a a lot of the PV collection will be on display there. So it'll be kind of a mod museum. We've actually focused more on what the drink menu will be in the cafe than what products we'll be selling. It's just really kind of a place to come hang out.
Nice.
And if we happen to sell a PV or two, so be it. It's anybody that's ever been to the Orange County Chopper store, walks in and they have anybody happens to walk in the Orange County Chopper store, realize that they're selling more T-shirts than they are motorcycles. We intend on doing the same. So
very cool. I wonder if either of you, since you're opening up these big new stores, you have any intentions of having a camera where people who don't have the ability to visit you will be able to possibly watch you work, or see what's going on in the shop. Matt, you spoke about, you're not wanting to be interrupted, but there you go. Yeah. Having a cam so people can see maybe live what's going on or those type of things.
Yeah, I think in my situation it's a little bit different than Mike. Mike has machining processes that unless you have the G code, you can't really rip it off.
Right.
But I've got trade secrets that if people see certain things that I do, they could rip off my my techniques and all of the little tricks that I've learned to make life easier for me over the last 3 years of doing this, 4 years, whatever it is. And I want to do a video of how pipes are made, but I'm gonna have to omit some things. And one of the things that we were thinking about doing in order to appease the people that would want to come into the shop is do tours maybe quarterly where you could actually come in and tour the shop. But we would lock things down pretty tight in the shop and hide certain things that we don't want people to see and that type of thing. But I mean, there really are trade secrets that I just don't want floating around.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable.
So T-Max King said, how many local flippers are you going to beat with a hammer when the limiteds go up for auction?
All of them.
Leanne, you ready for that? Actually, the limiteds that are going to be available in the shop, you're going to walk in, you're going to pick out your PV from the limiteds that are available. It's going to go in the back, go on the engraver, and your name is going on it. If you want to flip a PV with your name on it, by all means go for it. But you aren't going to get one that doesn't have your name on it.
Love the idea. Love the.
So how's that for an answer?
Why do you think people are so invested? And like on your site, you've always said, we're not going to allow you in the beginning to buy more than 1 or 2 devices, and then you'd have people using fake names, fake addresses, fake IP numbers to try to get around that. Do you think the market is still the same for people? I mean, there's always going to be greedy people. Do you think the market is still there for people wanting to get, 10 of your devices, and Matt, you too, to sell for 3 to 5 times the price of what you sell it for retail?
Well, just like the real estate bubble, there will be a mod bubble.
Yep.
And the market will crash.
Well, I think it has. Look at Gigi's. We're selling, for $1,500, okay, for anyone, and now they're, they've come down quite a bit. I mean, I paid $350 for a UFS. Yeah, nobody's